Hello. Did you know that only 40% of your happiness is truly up to you? Well, this may seem shocking knowing that it is your own happiness and you should be able to have full control over it. However, scientists have determined that your happiness level is a result of a complex interaction of genes, behaviors, and life circumstances. Even though much of your happiness does not depend on you, you can still gain control over it by simply changing your daily mental and physical habits and, most importantly, your way of thinking. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you know what a happiness pie chart is? The happiness pie chart was originally proposed in 2005 by positive psychology researchers from UC Riverside, UC San Diego, and the University of Missouri. It shows a clear representation of all of the facts that influence human happiness. As you can see on the board, according to the chart, 50% of our happiness is determined by our genes, 40% by our activities, and only 10% by our life circumstances. You know, unfortunately for some of us, our happiness is to a large extent being determined by the genes that we inherit from our parents. That, however, does not at all mean that we cannot do anything in order to increase our level of satisfaction. You know, the road of achieving happiness is a hard one, but there is one simple change that you can make that will improve your life forever. If you go to Google and search for some ways to improve your happiness, it will probably give you some articles about exercising and eating healthy, but none of that is really important. If your mindset is directed toward the negative things that happen in your life, no matter how much you exercise and how healthy you eat, you can never be truly happy. You know, your happiness does not depend much on the situation itself, but rather on your perception of it. Those who are truly happy are not always the most successful ones, but rather the ones that manage to find something positive in everything that happens to them, no matter how bad it might seem. Now, to explain that a little bit more clearly, I am going to tell you a story. You know, a while ago, I decided to conduct a social experiment on myself. I decided to buy a diary and to every day write something positive that had happened to me during that day. It sounds really simple when I say it like that, right? Well, guess what? After a whole week of doing that experiment, my diary looked like that. However, as time passed by, I started filling more and more pages in my journal, and after less than a month, there was no space left. And I can tell you that I was already feeling a lot happier than before. And now, don't get me wrong. It wasn't because my life had become easier, not at all. It was simply because I had begun to realize that every day there was something to be happy about, no matter how bad the day had been. So on that note, I can conclude that the best way of achieving happiness is to direct your energy towards the positive aspects of your life rather than the negative ones by simply focusing on everything that is going well than everything that is going wrong. That way you'll be growing that small bit of enjoyment that you have right now and making it a way of living by constant exposure to it. How can you expect any changing external circumstances to affect your established state of mind if you spend all of your time focusing on the negatives and feeling unhappy as a result? You know, there are plenty of people out there that go through difficult circumstances, just like everyone else. But don't let that affect their happiness. Those people focus on their successes rather than their failures and look for the stars when it's dark rather than complaining about it. And let's go back to the experiment that I talked to you before. You know, a while after doing it, I realized that it was a real thing. That there was a concept called a gratitude journal, and that the concept was firstly introduced by the American TV host Oprah Winfrey in one of her novels. You know, Oprah is one of the first to advocate for the power and pleasure of gratitude. She believes that gratitude is a major force field in establishing a better life. You know, to quote Oprah, I know for sure that appreciating whatever shows up for you in life changes your personal vibration. You radiate and generate more goodness for yourself when you're aware of all you have and not focusing on your have-nots. And now, unfortunately, a lot of people have that type of mindset that is focused on the bad things in life instead of the good ones. And that occurrence is addressed by the concept of negativity bias. Negativity bias is our tendency to focus on the negative aspects of our lives instead of the positive ones, even when they are of equal proportion. And something interesting is that the negative bias is thought to be an evolutionary function. You know, thousands of years ago, our ancestors, they were exposed to urgent environmental threats that we no longer have to worry about, and being more sensitive is actually has played a crucial role in their survival. And nowadays, we also can see the negativity bias in our early development, because you see, infants, they don't have a lot of life experience to draw on, so being more sensitive to everything that happens to them helps them avoid potential harmful stimuli in the absence of learned information for the unknown. So now, imagine that I've just decided to walk down that stage, approach you, and tell you, you look really nice today. Your outfit is so stylish and that hairstyle is so elegant, and then you instantly feel great, right? I mean, I just came to you and told you how nice you look today. I just appreciated that 1 hour, let's say, that you spent this morning in order to create that vision of yours. But what if I continue by saying something like, yesterday, however, you did not look good at all. Your clothes, they were so dirty, and that hairstyle, it was so outdated. And then you obviously feel bad. I mean, I just came to you and told you how ugly you looked yesterday. I mean, duh. And when the event is over and you walk through that door, and then you have two options of telling yourself. You can say to yourself, from now on, I am not going to dress like I did yesterday, but you can also tell yourself, from now on, I am going to dress like I did today. You know, those two sentences, they look so similar. And that's mainly because they have the same meaning. However, they are actually really different. And that is because while the first sentence focuses on the negative perspective of what had just happened, the second sentence focuses on the positive perspective of everything that just happened. And let me tell you something. I am 100% sure that you will unconsciously choose to tell yourself the first option, and that is simply because of the way our mindset works. We tend to focus so much on everything bad that happens in our lives, hoping to prevent it from happening, that we completely forget about everything good that happens. You know, the future is full of challenges and opportunities. You are the master of your life, so go and live it the way you desire. Don't waste your time focusing on everything bad that happens and feeling unhappy as a result. Instead, focus on everything positive and good that you encounter, because that is the only way you can be truly happy. Thank you.